to the Life of Growth and Peace podcast. It is I, Coach Gazi. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you are new here, I want to say welcome. Here is where I share all of my business in hopes that you will live a life of growth and peace. And so, welcome. I ask that you like, subscribe, all of that other stuff. And I'm just going to get right into it. I really want to talk today about a false sense of loyalty, right? I had this conversation with my little cousin, Sierra, a couple months ago. We were talking about it, and I was talking about a relationship that I had, and most of my life experiences could come from that one relationship. It's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of stuff within it, but I really wanted to talk about that a little bit more. And give me one moment. I want to talk about loyalty, right? Because for so many of us, we are loyal to people and comfort zones and all of that stuff. And loyalty is a strong feeling of support or allegiance, right? That means you gonna stick beside them no matter what. And so I want to talk from that place of a false sense of loyalty, meaning that we're loyal to our jobs, we're loyal to our comfort zone, we're loyal to romantic relationships, friendships, and sometimes we're loyal to the wrong people and the wrong things, unbeknownst to us. Some of us are naive, and that's not disrespectful. I'm not saying that in a disrespectful way, but some of us are naive in that we don't know any better. We just repeat learned behavior. Some of these are habits that we picked up, things that we saw in childhood, and things that we adapted as this is how you're supposed to be. A lot of our conditioning comes from childhood. I saw a video this morning, and a man was talking the first 10 years of a child's life are the most crucial. That's where you can impact them the most, make your impression. That's what he said. That's when you impress upon your child within the first 10 years. And he said whether they have their parent there or the parent is absent, that is impressed upon them. And a lot of times, by the time they're 10, everything they learned within that time span forms who they become as an adolescent and as an adult. And I find that so true, even for myself, because I grew up with my dad and my stepmom. My real mom wasn't there. And some things, some patterns and behaviors I picked up. And we're all like, oh, I'll never be this way. I'll never do that. And sometimes we find ourselves doing those things. And for me, I'll talk more of this in my parenting. And I did make another podcast on, I made a podcast a few years ago on it when I was overcoming my anger. It's the Knowing Better podcast, if I'm not mistaken. It's the Knowing Better one that I did with Nikki, Chantel, and Kai. Nikki is Chantel. Sis Nikki and Kai. We all sat and we talked about knowing better. And so one of the things for me was I grew up in your traditional, early 90s household, strict parents and things like that. And so one day my daughter asked me for something, and I was like, what do you want? And I always think it's funny because the night before I prayed about, me and sis were praying about anger. And I was like, girl, I don't have any anger issues. I'm good. And so that was what showed the next day how I treated my daughter was a learned behavior that I adapted from my stepmom growing up. And I can't really talk about my mom growing up because my mom wasn't there. I do have a relationship with my mom. I moved in with her when I was 20 and things like that. But it's just sometimes we adapt unbeknownst to ourselves to patterns and behaviors that we saw growing up consecutively and even in our friend groups. And I use that example as of my stepmom, and the anger and how I exhibited that towards my daughter, because that's something that I didn't know existed. It's something that I was oblivious to, because when me and sis were in prayer, she was praying about her anger. I was like, oh girl, you got anger issues, you got issues, girl. Like, oh, I feel bad, to only turn around and that very next day it be revealed to me that I have those issues too. And so sometimes, we're loyal to the idea of that's just how I am. Oh my gosh, my mom was the one. I've been this way my whole life. And I used to be like, girl, and you okay with that? And she was perfectly fine. Some people are so loyal to, this is what I know, this is how I grew up, this is what I was taught, that they're not willing to change. And so sometimes that could be to our detriment, and I just really want to dive into that. And so a couple months ago, I was talking to Cece, and we were having a conversation, and I really was just like pouring it all out, like not even intentionally, but like it was so much healing that took place within that conversation that I didn't know I needed. And so we talked about how Willie, my daughter's dad, and then my son Pharaoh, who, the stillborn baby I delivered, that's their dad. And so my kid's father, right? Never say baby daddy. We did not. He will turn over in his grave. But I do say it as a joke. I remember one time I said it as a joke. Oh, he was so bad. But anyway, that's the side of the point. He was so upset. He said, what? But, and so we were talking about, like, in all honesty, that was like, one of my first real long-term relationships. Like, I hadn't had a serious relationship prior to that. Like, as a teenager, you date, you have a boyfriend, but I never grew up like, I date a boy for like 4 years and he'll be my first and all that other stuff. And so he was my first serious relationship. We met at 19. We were 19 when we met. And were we 19? Nope. We met before I moved to North Carolina. We were 20. So I met him. We met each other at 20 because I was there when he turned 21. He turned 21 before I did. And so, like, all of this stuff. And so that was my first serious relationship. That was, like, the longest relationship I had. Like, we were on and off for, like, 6 years, 6 or 7 years or something like that. And so I learned a lot within that time because those were my formative years. Like I said in the beginning, what you learn in your early adolescence is what you apply. And so there were things that I applied to a relationship and that he applied to the relationship, and sometimes we would clash on certain things. Now you have people who are like my mom and who are very strong-minded. This is how I am and I'm not changing. But then you have other people, I'll say like myself, when it's like, okay, what can I change about this, or how can I change in a way that's suitable to me? Like, one of the arguments, like, later on, after we weren't together anymore, but in our co-parenting, Willie would be like, I know when you have something on your mind, just come out and say it. Just say it because, I know it because your behavior and your patterns, right? And not that I'm so much loyal to the fact that it takes me a while to process and even build the courage up to speak, but it does take me a process. And so he's like, you need to get on with it. Just say it, just say it, just say it. But the type of person that I am, I need to process it and I need to figure out the best way to say it, because I don't want to just say stuff to hurt your feelings. Like, I don't want to just say stuff and then it hurts your feelings, or I don't want my approach to be one that could have been a little more refined. And so me and him used to have that disagreement often, and he's like, your behavior says you have something on your mind, but you won't say it yet. And I would stress to him like, hey, sometimes it takes me a while to process, and sometimes it's things that I can talk about and that I'm willing to talk about, and sometimes after I process it, it doesn't need to have a conversation. Like, there's nothing that needs to be discussed there. I just needed to process, evaluate how I felt, evaluate the scenarios, and then I'll be able to move on. But him and his personality is like, just say it. He's always been really upfront, and not that I'm not upfront, but sometimes it's not worth talking about. And so that was something that we communed about, and that was like in our co-parenting. I can't really say like in our relationship if that was an issue, because we were both in broken places there. So we were just doing the best that we know how as 21-year-olds in a relationship together, living together and all of that. We were just trying our best. And so in the conversation with Cece, I was saying that I learned so much in a relationship, and there were things that, looking back, if we were home, I wouldn't have done. So when we were 21, we moved in together. So I moved to North Carolina from Jersey, and then about a year later, he moved down also, or probably like 6 months, honestly. Was it? No, it was about a year later because I moved in 2011, and then he came the December or November of 2012. And so there were things that if we were home in New Jersey, I wouldn't have put up with. But I felt like because he moved so far away from home for me, that I had to deal with, certain behaviors and certain attitudes. And so, they always say you never know a person until you live with them. And let's keep this. I had this journal since 2011. In this journal, I have when I decided to move out of New Jersey. Like, I got this journal probably before this date, but the first date in my journal, I don't know if you can see it, is May 10th of 2011, 5/10/11. And so I probably got this journal right before then. Barnes and Noble was my best friend. And so this journal is very near and dear to me because 2011, I was 20. Like, this is over 10 years old, but so much information is here about who I used to be. And so I have in here, like, when we first started dating, when we first started, messing around, when he asked me out, all the things, when he said he loved me, all that stuff. And so in here, occasionally I read back to it because everything's like cute and lovey-dovey and so sweet and so amazing. And then we get to where we moved in together. And then when we moved in together, I see something. So I'm trying to figure out how I want to say it. So, like I said, a lot of things that if we were in New Jersey that I dealt with within our relationship, I wouldn't have. Because I'm the type of person where if it's not going to work, then we're just not going to be together. I don't put up with cheating. I don't cheat. Like, even when I was in high school, I remember I dated this guy, childhood crush. And when I was like in the 11th grade, 11th grade, I cheated on him. And baby, I broke up with him that same day. I was leaving, and this comes from my my brokenness, right? Because with my experiences, if you didn't give a dude what they wanted, then they would take it. And so, or they wouldn't talk to you, or they would treat you some type of way, right? And so I ended up having sex with this person who was a friend of mine. I guess because I didn't know how to say no. I didn't want the relationship to change, the friendship to change, right? Being so loyal to this person that I'm afraid to be loyal to myself and what I want. And so I end up, messing around with this person. And baby, as I'm walking home, I called my boyfriend at the time and I broke up with him. I'll never forget this day. It was raining. I was walking home in the rain. I was crying so bad, but because it was raining, I don't think he could tell. He never asked any questions. He was just like, okay. But then I think later on I told him why or what have you. But that's the type of person I am, right? Because I don't want to, like, I don't know. It's just how I am, right? I didn't see cheating and, my dad and my stepmom's marriage. Like, that wasn't something that was there. And so, it wasn't anything that I thought to put up with, and it's not anything that I wanted to do. And I think also because like in my formative years, like in dating, right, having my little boyfriends or whatever, 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade, like just about every boy almost, like minus a few I dated, cheated on me. And so it was just like, it was one of those things like, I'm not gonna do this and I'm not gonna condone this. But so loyal to that person that I forget to be loyal to myself. And so back to the relationship aspect, I felt like he moved all the way down here for me. And so I didn't want to leave him high and dry, right? And also, I think being naive, right? Because I can say this in hindsight, right? No, I did think of it at the time, but I just didn't want to. I didn't want to just leave him out there. What would happen? Would he have somewhere to go? Would he go back home? Like all these questions. And this is something like I wish he was alive that we could talk about. And the good thing, like, within our co-parenting and within our situations, were that like we were able to commune about a lot of things. Like, but I think that was always our relationship. We were always able to communicate, even though it takes me a while to process, right? And so I was telling Cece, I was like, man, there were a lot of things that I would not have dealt with or put up with or even allowed if we were home. Like if we were home in New Jersey, I'd have just left him. Like I'd have just been like, I don't have to deal with this. Like I don't like this attitude. I don't like this behavior. I don't like how you move. And I would have left. But I think because we were far away from home in a new environment, trying to be an adult, and I'm not the type of person to like share my problems with other people, so I kind of internalized a lot, like processed a lot. I didn't have people that I trusted in that regard, or even people who were in healthy relationships who I trust to get advice from. I think that's the better way to say it, because we're all in our 20s, we're all in these type of situations, dating people and not knowing. And then once I was pregnant with Cheyenne in 2013, I was like, oh no, we got to make it work, because that's what you do when you have a family. You have to make it work. And so, and things like that, we feel like we have to make it work. We have to be loyal to this person. We have to stick it out. But as a healed person, I know, like, no, I don't have to deal with this. Like, I'll be better off on my own. And like a lot of times, like even we talk about my dad, in the relationship, people are like, well, you grew up in a 2-family household. Yeah, but there are things that come, like if it's not a healthy household, and my dad was loyal to this person because he felt like he had to, because he had a family. Like we had to make it work. You had to do what you had to do. And that's probably where I got it from. Like I got to be loyal to this person. I got to make it work. And so those are some things, like we're loyal in relationships when, if we're honest, we don't want to be there. And sometimes the hardest thing to do is to leave. But after you leave and after you begin to heal, you get to become a better version of yourself, right? And so like in 2017, when me and Willie broke up, I had to begin my healing journey, because it's like, why did this last like this so long? And it wasn't like the worst of relationships, right? But it's the only relationship that I know. It's the only one I have to base my information off of. We were together from 20 to 26, and so that's all I have, and then we had a child, and then we had to learn to co-parent together after that. So this is literally my 20s, because he died when we were 30. This is literally the lifespan of my 20. I haven't been 30 long. I haven't been in my 30s long, so this is all the information that I have. And sometimes we can be so I want to say congealed, but I think that's the wrong word to use. Like we can be so our mind can be set on like this one thing. You know how people categorize all women are this and all men are this, and these type of women do this and this type of men do this. Like we get so set and this is how they are, so loyal to that ideology that we don't allow room for error or room for expansion, room to grow and to think outside the box and outside of our comfort zone. We don't allow for change to come forth. And so like even after we broke up, I began to heal. I began to be one with Christ and get my life together and things like that. And there were things that I apologized for. I remember for like For like 2 weeks straight, every day I was calling him apologizing for something. Like, I apologize that I did this, and I apologize that I did that, and I apologize for treating you this way, and I apologize. And he was like, yo, why you keep calling me and apologizing? And I was just like, through my healing, that was funny. He was like, no, he was in my face. We were exchanging Cheyenne. He was like, what you keep apologizing for? And I had to share with him, like, through my journey and through my healing, I learned that it wasn't always him, that I aided in some of the way, like, I aided in allowing him to treat me certain ways, and I treated him some ways as well, and I had to be accountable for that, and I had to apologize for that. And I think he did forgive me, said that he forgave me and stuff like that. But for like 2 weeks straight, every day, I remember it was like, I think like October or November, whatever, probably September, whenever he took Cheyenne to like the fall festival. Like, I just kept calling him and apologizing. Like, literally, it was like every other day for like 2 weeks straight. And that was very freeing for me, because I got to release that. I got to let it go. And I also had to be accountable. Like, hey, I contributed to some of our, toxic 21-year-old, selves. Like, I played a part, but I did have to be accountable. And so I wasn't so loyal to, this is how I am, I'm gonna be this way my whole life, that I didn't see that there was error within myself. And so sometimes, even jobs, like, this is my favorite thing about a job. Baby, I will quit a job so fast. Not even playing with y'all. It just so happens to work in my favor that I've had some pretty good companies to work with. And so I'll never forget, after moving back to North Carolina, like 2016, my mom got me a job at her job. We were working at Golden Corral. And there was this girl there, and she would just talk to people in a way that was very disgusting. And I wasn't where I am today. And so I would have beat her up. Like, just so we're clear. I always say I'm a lover, not a fighter, but I do have hands. And the way she would talk to people, it would literally just make me feel like I just want to take her in the parking lot and, like, oh my gosh, like, why are you like this? Like, that's disgusting. Like, she would just be throwing stuff at people and just be like, here, do this. And it's just like, there was no decorum about her. There was no respect, no honor, and it was just like, that's the best way to describe it, right? And I had to quit that job, and I told my mama, I said, Ma, I thank you for, like, putting your name on the line for me, but I gotta leave, because if I don't, I'm gonna get fired for beating this girl up, and I know if I fight her that you gonna help me. And so I'm just gonna avoid that altogether, right? Because I don't like confrontation like that. Like, I'm lying. I used to be for the drama. I used to be the drama. Like, I used to be an instigator. It is what it is, right? Gotta be accountable. And so I left, and I had to, because, like, I didn't want to, I guess, come out of character. But, and this all makes sense. I know it may seem like I'm all over the place, right? But I'm just kind of giving you a background and a foreground to, like, some of my experiences that led up to, like, why are we so loyal to these people, these places, and these things as if they'll never change? We're so cemented on, this is my friend group. I knew these people since I was 12, but they don't treat you well. They don't look out for you when you're down. Like, they kick you when you're hurting. They don't contribute to your successes, but they get to eat off your plate. And sometimes we're so, I don't want to say, I guess, fragmented, or so conditioned to be like, because these people were here then, they get to go with me to my future. But you're the one who did all the work. Now, if you have good friends who aided in your success, who speak life into you while you're down, then this doesn't apply. But this even goes for family members, right? We have family members, and because that's my family, I allow them to treat me any kind of way, or talk to me any kind of way, or do whatever they want to me, and I still go around them, and I still give my all in those situations. No, that's not healthy. That's toxic. You know, this can be your family. You can love your family, but you can love them from a distance. And I think sometimes it's hard to do that, to love our family from a distance, because we feel like we have to be there. And that's something that we're taught. Be loyal to your family, be loyal to your friends, stick beside these people regardless of how you treat them. But I don't want to live like that anymore. And so I stopped living like that. You know, I had an experience even recently with a family member, and I'm like, you know, I love this person, but because just because I love them and just because they're my family doesn't mean that I have to go the extra mile to appease them. Because if they want a relationship, they'll make a relationship because they make a relationship with everybody else. And I don't have any hate towards this person. There's no love lost. I love this person, like with my whole heart, but I'm good. And so I think sometimes when we think of like loving a person, we think that we have to be like there with them and loving them. We have to be in it with them. No, I can love you from a distance. Even like Willie, we weren't together. I still loved him. I had love for him. I wasn't in love with him, but he's family. You know, we have a kid together. Like, you know, people say, oh, you have a kid together, you're together till you're 18. But in my mind, like, you guys deal with each other for the rest of your lives. Yeah, you may not have to communicate with each other, but if there's something pertaining to the kid and we're both active parents, then you're going to be there as well. So it makes no sense for me to be negative or nasty towards you. And so sometimes we think that because we are loving them from a distance, or because we separate ourselves from them, that means we don't love them. No, I can love you. I can recognize that you hurt me. I can forget it, you know, and I can forgive you, but I don't have to continue to place myself in the vicinity to be hurt. That's like if I walk out on the street and a car hits me and it makes me go like this, right? And it hit me now and I spin, right? If I stay in the street, when that car reverses and get hit again, or whichever way the car goes and continue to get hit, that's on me. I can move out the way, forgive you for the wrong that you did, and go about my business. And so I think sometimes it's hard to separate that, like to walk away and go about your business. There doesn't have to be any love lost. Like, we can continue to be cordial with each other. Like, we can hang. Depending, right? We may be able to hang. Even if we don't hang, like, I'm not gonna walk past you like this. If I see you, I'm gonna say, hey, how are you? I always liken it to this. This is like one of my favorite analogies. Like, there is no love lost. If I walk in a restaurant and I see you sitting at your table, I'm gonna wave, I'm gonna speak to you while I'm going to my table. And I don't have any hate, any animosity towards you. Like, you can eat, we can eat in the same vicinity. You just can't eat at my table, period. And I'm okay with that. I know, like the Bible says, like, he will prepare a table before you in the presence of your enemies, right? This is where my analogy comes. It say in the presence of my enemies. It don't say we sitting there together. It means when I walk in a restaurant and you in a restaurant, what's up? And I go to my feast. And that don't mean I love you any less. That don't mean I have any hate towards you or anything. I'm a very forgiving person because growing up, there were a lot of things. And I was conditioned in a way that people just gonna do you dirty, period, regardless. Like, you know, it started early. My mom was on drugs. She used to sell our stuff. Like, people gonna do you dirty. Like, it happens. And sometimes we hold on to those things, and we hold so tightly to those things, those wrongdoings, that it births a bitterness within us, and we aren't able to let it go, you know. And that actually coincides with what I want to talk about next week on with pride and humility, because I learned so much. I learned so much within the past 2 weeks concerning that, and I can't wait to share. Like, that's gonna be crazy, because I went through a whole I went through a whole thing with God, like concerning that pride and humility, but being birthed from that hurt and that bitterness from things that we carry that we don't even know we carry. And so it's the same thing with that false sense of loyalty, that we're carrying it and we feel like we have to be here for these people. And just because this person called you and asked for money don't mean you got to give it to them. That don't make you disloyal. You know, one thing I like to say is, I don't have it for you. Like, I have it, yeah, but I don't have it for you. And so, and I learned that because one of the things that I recognize in my walk, I'm learning on my journey, that our words have power. So if you continue to say I'm broke, I don't have it, you know what I'm saying? All of those things you won't. You'll be in a place of lack because you keep speaking lack on yourself. Like, if you keep saying I'm broke, I'm broke, I'm broke, I'm broke, I'm broke, you're gonna be broke, and then you're gonna be mad because you broke. But why are you broke? Because you keep saying it. Like, I know this lady, and she keeps, single mom. I'm a single mom. I do it by myself. Single mom. I do it by myself. Single mom. I do it by myself. Single mom. Single mom. Okay. Like, but then you can't be mad when something else doesn't come to your life, because this is how you identify. You can be a mom. You can be single, right? You can be an individual parent doing it by yourself. Even for dads, you can be an individual parent doing it by yourself. But if that is all you identify as, if you're so loyal to I'm a single parent, I do it by myself, how will you allow for more to come to you? And then you can't be mad when more does not come, because this is how you identify. This is what you've spoken over your life. This is what you decree and declare, that you are this thing. And so with that, I had to change how I spoke. If I don't have it, I say I don't have it yet. I make sure to add that yet. I learned that. I don't even remember where I learned that from. Probably when I was in network marketing, learning about just mindset and things like that. And so it does all play around with our mindset, how we perceive things, you know. And sometimes our mindset can be jaded by life and experiences and things like that. But we don't have to be so loyal to the company or to the person or to the family member or to the relationship that we put ourselves on the back burner. I liken it to what I learned. This coach was teaching us about integrity, right? She says integrity is saying you'll do something and then doing it, right? And she said we show integrity when if somebody asks us to help them move and we go and we help them move. That's integrity, because you're a person of your word. And she says it's so easy for us to show integrity to other people, but into your work, in your work situations. But why is it so hard for us to show integrity to ourselves? And I was like, and it's true. She said, you say you're going to go to the gym and you never go. You say you're going to work out at home and you don't go. You say you're going to eat better. You're going to do this. You're going to do that. You're going to do this thing for your business. All the things you say you're going to do, but you don't do. Why is it so hard for us to show integrity towards ourselves, but so easy for us to do it for other people? And I was like, dang, she right. That was hard. That was like, like, that was crazy. And it was crazy and it was real. And it was like, man, why is it so hard for us to show integrity towards ourselves? I haven't figured it out. I think because we're loyal to that mindset. I'll do it later. So loyal to, I get around to it. Procrastinating, you know? And so, in sharing this within the parameters of a false sense of loyalty, I just want to like bring to your attention, what are you being loyal to? Who are you being loyal to that does not serve you, that does not benefit you, that does not add value to your life? And I challenge you to reevaluate those situations. Take a step back. That's something I share like in my relationship goals in my relationship goals coaching program. You know, sometimes we have to reevaluate relationships, and sometimes we have to step away, and it's okay. And even like being loyal to how we perceive ourselves. One of my favorite exercises that I do in my relationship goals program is we go through this process of what are some of the things that you say to yourself that nobody knows. And 9 times out of 10, when people have to repeat the things out loud that they say to themselves silently, it breaks them. And it's because we're loyal to that perception of ourselves. Because we were told, you're dumb, you're stupid, you'll never be anything, you'll be just like this person, you'll always, you'll never. And we adapted those ideologies toward ourselves. And whenever we do something, or whenever we make a mistake, I'm so this, that, or the third. And I even had to stop Cheyenne from saying it. My daughter, when she was like 6 or 7, probably when she was around 6, I noticed it, before we moved in the house. She would do something, or she would make a mistake, and she'd be like, I'm so stupid. I'm like, girl, what are you doing? You're not stupid. You made a mistake. People make mistakes all the time. And that's not a language that I use toward her, right? I speak like, I may tell her, you don't do what I say, right? That is our current battle with my 9-year-old daughter. Like, she's learning, but I don't call her dumb, I don't call her stupid, I don't call her retarded, I don't speak lack over her, I speak life into her. Now, the main thing you'll hear me say is, this girl don't listen. Girl, why you don't do what I say? I asked you to do all you gotta do is load and unload the dishwasher. Like, why you can't do it, right? But I'll never say, you stupid, this, and this, right? Because that's how I was spoken to as a child. And I didn't enjoy it. It didn't make me feel good. It made me feel less than. It made me feel low. And so I do that exercise in my relationship goals program for people to speak those things that they say in secret to themselves, those things that the enemy are saying about you, to you, right? The things that the enemy is saying to you about yourself that you've adapted, that you've become loyal to. You know, you'll never be this, or you'll never be that, and you'll always be this, and you'll always be that. No. Let's change that. Let's switch that around, you know? And so from there, we can go and we can grow and we can learn to be better. And it's not easy changing. If I'm in my 30s, right? I've been the old me for like 27 years. And I've only been the new me for like 5 or 6 years, right? And so it's really hard to be the new me when the old me is like, this is like petty. Oh my gosh. I think I finally let it go. Like the other day, let me tell you, the other day, y'all hear me talk about petty probably every episode, right? So the other day, Cheyenne tricked me. She looked me in my face and laughed and told me she did it on purpose. And then she proceeded to laugh again. When I tell you it was fire, shut up in my bones. Okay? I was just like, I was gonna make her feel disgusting. I was ready for it. I was gonna ignore her. I was gonna lay out a plethora of petty just for her. Cause you wanna play, let's play. Like, I ain't sent for you, but since you here, we can get it. But I felt something within me just like, nah, don't even do it. Don't even do it. And I physically couldn't. Something that was so easy for me. Something that had been a part of my life for 30 years. Something that I was able to do was my automatic response, right? I couldn't even do it. And that's when I recognized I changed. Like, there are other things that made me recognize that I've changed. But for me, I physically could not do it. And I was like, man, look at me growing up. I'm proud of that. Like, so proud of that moment, man. I'm so proud of that moment because that signifies growth for me. Like, that lets me know, like, yeah, I'm doing something and I'm doing something right. But, we don't have to be loyal to the ideas that others placed on us. We don't have to stick to those things. Like if you're in a corporate business and they say you'll only be this and you'll only ever get to this level. I'm not going to say prove them wrong because that'll be prideful. Like, oh, I'm going to show you. No. But if you think differently, then think differently. If you say, I don't agree with that. And then you work your way up. Not to prove yourself to anybody, but because you don't agree with that. And you don't have to agree with that. And you don't have to be loyal to somebody else's perception of you. I think that's what it is. Like when we tell little boys, oh, you're so tall, you'll be a basketball player. And then when they're not a basketball player, oh, why you didn't play ball? Because I didn't want to. Little boys don't have to be loyal to your perception of what they should or shouldn't be. If he decides to be a computer tech, let him be a computer tech. If he works in cybersecurity, let him work in cybersecurity. If he decides he wants to be a ballet dancer, let him be a ballet dancer. Like, I think it's funny how people get upset when you don't conform to their ideologies of you, because it's like, I'm an individual. I don't have to be who you've called me to be, and even like, especially like if it's in a lowly place, like, are you always going to work at McDonald's? But then when you become the regional manager, right? Oh, I knew you was going to work there, but girl, I'm making 6 figures a year. Like, bro, I'm doing my thing over here, And so people want to see you here. And then when you begin to expand, it doesn't look like much over a short period of time, right? It doesn't look like much. But when you look back at it, the growth is so significant. I'm reading this book, The Psychology of Money, right? And he was talking about that with investments. And he was talking about investments and like failures, like when the economy collapsed and things like that. And one analogy he gave was that over a 50-year period, I think there were like 250 million or 275 million, whatever extravagant number that he used, like people, that amount of people over this amount of time have not died from a heart disease, right? Heart failure, all those things, like things that poison your body. And he said, nobody pays attention to the fact that the amount of people who are healed or who do not die from heart disease is so significant that it is equivalent to the population of Atlanta, Georgia, right? That many people over the past like 50 years have not died from heart disease, which is like because of the increase in our health, in our care, in our systems and stuff like that. But then it's something so small, like a 1% change in the stock market, that changes everything, and people are like, oh my gosh, or like when the economy collapsed. And he even used the idea of like perception. People talk negative about this. He said it's easier for people to make a negative review than it is for people to make a positive review. He said people are not going to talk about, over the past 6 months, the stock market has improved 1%. But when it declines 1%, it's headline everywhere, and it's like, where does your loyalty lie? Like, how are you going to perceive said things? Like, what are you going to do? Like, how are you going to move forward? And he also talks about like how, people invest based on who they are. And so we adopt other people's ideologies of how we should invest money and things like that, when how they invest and how we invest are two different scenarios, because we're different people. They may be investing for like future gains so that they can retire in the next 20 to 30 years, at 60, live a good life and be good. Somebody else may be investing on the short term, but long-term investors adapt short-term investors methods and ideologies, and then they don't get the same results, and now the game is rigged, right? But it's not. We're different people with different end goals, and we have to move from that place. And it's also it's individual. Like we're classing it, but it's individual because it's based on every person individually. And so he lists like a lot of books and a lot of people who've done things and stuff like that, and how it just changes significantly over time. And we change significantly over time, and sometimes we recognize it and sometimes we don't. Like what I said about being angry at my daughter that morning. I didn't recognize it until I recognized it, and then I changed. It wasn't easy. It was really hard, honestly. No, it wasn't. I'm lying. It was easy. I just prayed about it, like, Lord, heal me from this, and then boom. And now I'm a good mama. But I think for me, my most significant, like the best reason for my changes are because I include God. I'm like, Lord, Holy Spirit, Jesus, because I need all of them. I need them all. I'm just gonna lay it out there. I think, how do I say it? I say, what I say, Lord, open my eyes, allow me to be guided by the Holy Spirit, and just strengthen me in Jesus as I walk this thing out. Like, Jesus, I need your strength. Like, I need you to petition God on my behalf, like, to help me to walk this thing out. And the Holy Spirit, I need your guidance. Like, open my eyes to your guidance. Like, to you leading me to do the things that I need to do. Something like that, I say. It's probably different all the time. But in that area, we don't have to be so loyal to, I only wear burnt orange. I don't wear yellow. Why? Yellow looks good on you. Because I've been this way for so long that I'll never, like, y'all, I got a shirt on today. I'm a little bit cold, I got the air on, but now I'm hot because I was like, oh, it's cold earlier. I'm going to put this on, but then I was like, I'm always in a t-shirt. But if I'm loyal to my t-shirts, I'm loyal to my t-shirts. I get them at Walmart for $3, and they I was loyal to Walmart, right? Boom, here it go right here. I know this is probably silly, right? But I was loyal to Walmart because when I go in Target, it's too quiet. I don't like that. It's like, why y'all whispering? Why everybody smiling? Everybody nice. Like, everybody in a good mood. People be like, hey, can I help you with anything? You finding everything all right? I was like, what is going on here? Right? I'm like, I go to Walmart for the drama. Like, it's drama in the daytime. It's drama in the nighttime. Everybody standing around with an attitude. You might get a smile here or there. But they get paid good, so they're going to come to work and they're going to do their job. But they're not going to do more, right? And so, I was loyal to Walmart. And then I found out Target got this app. And you could, like, add coupons. Like the other week, I went, it said if you spend $60 in laundry products, you get a $15 gift card. And I was like, Walmart don't do that. And so I went. Because I spend like way more than that on laundry products. I do. And I got my $15 gift card. And then it was like another thing where you get, like, if you buy your bath products, you get $5. And then, like, sometimes, like, they don't have, like, the deals. But if you use the app, you get like points, not points, but like cents off. Like, you get discounts. So I've been shopping at Target. But you gotta get dressed to go to Target. Like, I can't go to Target in my headscarf. In Walmart, it's like, whatever. I don't got no earrings on. I just woke up. I ain't brushed my teeth yet. I'm just running to Walmart. But if you go to Target, it's like, let me wash my face. I'm being silly and for real at the same time. But yeah, you don't have to be loyal to people, places, or things that don't serve you, that don't benefit you, that do not add value to your life. Be loyal to Jesus. He good. He cool. He a cool dude. Holy Spirit. That's a good Trinity trio right there. But yeah. I hope my ranting, my sidebars, my on-topic, off-topic topics did not deter you. My prayer, my hope is that you have gained something of value from here. What I say in my business is that, like, my business, Life of Growth and Peace, not only is it personal to me because it's how I live, but I base it on 3 John 1 and 2, which says, Beloved, I wish above all things that you may prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prospers. And I think one thing that we misconstrue is what the soul is. Our soul is our mind, our will, and our emotions. And sometimes our souls are loyal to people and things that don't benefit or serve us. And I'm not saying like it has to be your slave, but when I say that, I mean that it doesn't add value to your life. And so if we want to increase in value, we have to increase our value. And how we increase our value is in our mind, the things we read, how we speak to ourselves, our will, the things that we do, showing integrity towards ourselves, and our emotions, getting things under control and recognizing that we can forgive people, but we don't have to speak to them every day. We don't have to answer the phone when they call, And sometimes when we set those boundaries, people will be offended, their feelings will be hurt. They'll say, you changed, you switched up, you're this, you're that. It's okay. Let them say whatever they're going to say. But you just do and be whatever you're going to do and however you're going to be it. And it's going to all work out. And so I hope that you find value in this. I hope that today you can apply this logic to something, to some part, some fragment, some fraction of your life. I hope it's good to you. I thank you for listening to me. I thank you for dwelling with me. I thank you for all that you are in this moment. And I love you and I appreciate you. This is Life of Growth and Peace. I am Coach Gazi. Bye for now.